Hello, I'm Dave, co-founder of Social Shifters. This is the Social Shifters podcast. In this podcast, I'll be speaking to incredible young people from all over the world, leaders, innovators, entrepreneurs, all tackling social and environmental issues that matter to them most. Listen in to hear top tips from some of the most incredible young minds on the planet. Comfort, hello. Welcome to the Social Shifters podcast, where we get to know the people behind some of the winning projects in our Global Innovation Challenge this year. So welcome and well done. You are the winner, or your project Kanga-Care is the winner of our Global Healthcare Equity Challenge this year, supported by Gilead. How does it feel to be a winner?
I feel so happy. Actually, when I heard that we had won, I was so excited because it wasn't easy getting to where we had gotten. So it was really a very exciting moment for me and also the whole team. Yeah, we were actually happy that the judges decided to choose our concept as the winners. It really felt like they believed in us and they knew that we were going to bring this to life.
Yeah, well, we had many applications to this category, and yeah, we were watching Kanga-Care come through the process, and yeah, we all kind of felt strongly about the concept right from the beginning. We read the application, so we were really delighted when the judges picked your project amongst the three winners in that category. So yeah, look, it's brilliant to have you here, and to hear about some of the story behind the project and the idea. But let's just start with you firstly. Can you introduce yourself, where you're from, and yeah, talk a little bit about Kanga-Care and your winning idea.
So I'm called Comfort Ayikoru. I'm from Uganda, from a small town called Arua. So I'm currently a medical doctor. I just recently finished my bachelor's of medicine and surgery from Bara University, back here in Uganda, and my graduation is set for May 2023. Yeah, next month. So that's a little bit about who I am, what I do. So the whole idea about Kanga-Care, it came about during the COVID-19 lockdown. We were sent home because people were dying and there was social distancing. So we were sent home. And that was a period when I went to my village. And then it so happened that one of my cousins was pregnant around that time. And you remember during that period, people were stopped from walking, like moving to places, public places, even transportation to the nearest health centers became a challenge. So here we were in a deep village in Arua, and my cousin happened to go into preterm labor, and then we had to rush her to one of the nearest health centers in Arua. But when she gave birth, the baby was very preterm, and the health center did not have a neonatal intensive care unit to be able to take care of this baby. So we were referred to a regional referral hospital because that's where at least you can get where to take care of such babies. So when we were referred, we decided to transport her from this health center to the regional referral. But along the way, as we were transferring this cousin of mine, the baby's body temperature dropped, and none of us noticed actually because the baby was too small, and then we didn't even know how to handle it. So none of us noticed that the baby's body temperature had dropped. And then by the time we reached the hospital, it was so unfortunate that I had to lose my niece. And this was one thing that really touched me so much because we were really happy to have, we were happy that she was pregnant, but she had to lose her baby at a very early age. So it so happened that we went back to school. When I returned back to school, we were rotating in the pediatrics ward. And then every time, most mothers that will come, like most mothers that will give birth to very preterm babies, most of them will actually end up losing their babies, not because they want to, but because the facilities that are around there are not able to cater for such kids. So, and then they end up using their clothes to wrap these babies and then also predispose them to more infections, and then they also die. And this was a challenge that I saw that was really affecting our health system. So I was like, maybe we can come up with something simpler. I talked to two of my colleagues from class. I told them about the challenge that I've been seeing, the problem, and whether we can brainstorm solutions to solve this. And they were very receptive. So we started brainstorming solutions and coming up with ideas. And that was when Kanga-Care was birthed. So the whole idea came about that whole challenge. Then after the birthing of Kanga-Care, initially it didn't have vital reading sensors. We are just locally knitted it. So we talked to our pediatric lecturer. She was receptive about it. She actually liked the whole idea. And then that's when we decided to bring about the vital reading sensors and how we can better improve the current basic kit that we had. So for us to do that, we had to bring a biomedical engineer on board, but we didn't have that skill. So we had to seek for other team members. Then we had to bring a biomedical engineer. Then we had to bring the other team members. That's how the whole team was formed. Yeah. And then we started working on the idea up to where we are right now.
Incredible concept, and a concept born, if you will, from really quite tragic circumstances for your friend, and then for many other new or potentially new mothers in Uganda and in the township where you reside. I'd like to go into the concept, the Kanga-Care concept, and how it works, because it's a really interesting concept, and yeah, to explain. But before we do, I think most people listening will understand in a broad sense what preterm birth is, or maybe premature birth might be. But can you elaborate or explain a little bit more about preterm kind of births and the risk to the child and to the mother, presumably in this idea of preterm or premature birth?
So a preterm baby or a premature baby is a baby that is normally born before the time that they're supposed to be born. Normally, a woman is supposed to carry a baby up to 37 completed weeks. A fetus up to 37 completed weeks before she can give birth. At that 37 completed weeks, the baby is mature enough to live in our environment. But when she gives birth before those completed weeks, we normally term that as a premature baby. So that baby's organs, some of them are not yet fully developed to be able to adapt to the earth environment. So they are prone to getting very many complications. One of the major ones being hypothermia. In layman's language, the baby's body easily loses heat to the outside world. And this hypothermia can pose a very great threat to this baby, as they can heat is needed for the body to function. Some of the enzymes in the body, they function within a normal temperature. So if the baby's temperature goes too low, that affects the organ function, and majorly it leads to like death, something like that. And then also a preterm baby is also predisposed to having complications with their respiratory system. Most of them are not able to breathe on their own, and then their respiratory system is not yet fully developed. So they also have complications in that area if they are not handled well. And then there are so many other things that come along with prematurity, but just know a preterm baby, once it's born, needs to be taken extra care for, because they are so delicate.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. So yeah, really quite serious repercussions for a child that's born prematurely. And can you talk a little bit to the scale of the problem in Uganda. Is this a common problem where you live and across the country? How often does this happen, and how often does it result in death or in very serious conditions for the child?
So, actually, globally, annually, over 15 million children are born preterm. This was just a record that was given out by UNICEF in 2021, but this number has gradually increased, and there are so many risk factors that can cause a mother to give birth to premature baby, one of them being young age of a mother. And now you realize during the COVID-19 pandemic that number of teenage pregnancies rose very high. So literally, most of the mothers would give birth to preterm babies, and they don't even know how to cater for these babies. So that's just on the global scale, and over 1 million die due to some of the complications that I had mentioned about. So if you come down to Africa alone, you will realize, according to statistics, 60% of most of these babies that die are premature. And it's also currently the leading cause of death among infants, not only in Uganda, but globally. So this is a very massive problem, not only in Africa, but in even other continents. And then you narrow it down to Uganda alone. Actually, on a daily, you have around 27 babies dying on a daily due to complications related to prematurity. So this is a really big number, and we are seeing most of our future leaders that are dying because of this prematurity that could actually be prevented. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for explaining the context there. So huge issue globally, it would appear, perhaps particularly in African nations, and then again in Uganda. And you're looking to tackle this at the moment on a local level in your township. But I know you have ambitions and vision for this to be much bigger, and for KangaCare to grow and to scale. So tell us why KangaCare. Explain this incredible invention that you and your team have come up with. What is it? How does it work? What does it do? And where was the inspiration? And I think Kanga in the KangaCare gives a little bit of a hint as to where the idea came from. And of course, it's a really serious issue that it's addressing. But the idea of KangaCare, I think, is really quite heartwarming and interesting. So yeah, can you tell us more about KangaCare?
So talking back from the problem, we already know that this was a major problem that most mothers were facing. And then if you come down to the neonatal intensive care unit, Uganda has actually currently 4 standard ones that are in major hospitals. And then the ones in the rural health centers, they do not have such services. So the Ministry of Health, in partnership with World Health Organization, has encouraged Kangaroo skin-to-skin mother care technique for most mothers who give birth to preterm babies. So that's the alternative that is being used for those that cannot afford to be in neonatal intensive care unit. And it's actually a proven intervention that normally works for babies that are born preterm because it has benefits like improving breathing, the baby's breathing, also generating warmth, and also increasing the bonding between mother and child, and also breastfeeding, like the baby picks up breastfeeding and also gains weight. So those are some of the benefits of Kangaroo mother skin. In Kangaroo skin to skin mother care technique, a baby normally a preterm baby is made to be almost naked with just a pamper. So if the baby is placed on the mother's chest, the mother is also without any clothing. So the baby is placed on the mother's chest, and then a cloth is wrapped around them, and the baby can be there almost most of the time. And this encourages generation of warmth between, like, transfer of warmth from the mother to the baby, and also the position of the baby in that kangaroo. It enables the baby to improve on its breathing patterns, And also, since it's next to the breast, it can easily breastfeed. So that's just the major thing about kangaroo. So most mothers have been doing this currently in Uganda, but the challenge has been that materials, the clothing they use to carry these things, some of them are unclean, and then also they are very light. Some of them require you to add another additional clothing. So it is from this context that we thought of modifying this kangaroo to come up with something that not only maintains warmth, but it also allows for the kangaroo to be done, but at the same time maintains the warmth and is clean. And then we also thought about coming up with something that can be able to monitor this baby's vital signs continuously, in that a doctor does not have to check on them every other time. They can just it can just be monitored automatically. So that's the whole idea about Kanga-Care. So
brilliant.
how it works, yeah. So how the Kanga-Care is, it's a locally knitted, double-layered preterm carrier that embraces the kangaroo skin-to-skin mother care technique of generating and maintaining warmth. So it's uniquely fitted with vital reading sensors that can detect the baby's body temperature, the pulse rate, and the oxygen saturation. And in case of any derangement, that is, in case the temperatures or the oxygen saturation goes high or low, it alerts the mother through an alarm system to seek timely care. Yeah, that's just how the whole concept has been.
It's incredible. I mean, it's just such a brilliant idea, and such an important issue to address. And so this is a widespread problem across the world, but particularly perhaps where you are, premature birth or preterm birth. And I'm right in thinking that care for preterm birthed children is expensive, and not everyone can afford it. And so KangaCare is a solution that helps those mothers and children who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford the expensive and sometimes complex treatment of preterm birthed children. Why is KangaCare more accessible? Why is it cheaper? Why how have you been able to create that product and the technology within it at a more affordable cost?
The Kanga-Care materials that we are using are they are locally sourced from Uganda. So the wool, the yarn, everything that we use, we are able to make it ourselves. Currently, we are actually selling one of our products in the market already with the basic kit. This one, a mother can afford it at only 15 euros. So it's easily affordable compared to other forms of care for a preterm baby. For example, if a baby is admitted in a neonatal intensive care unit, on a daily, a mother can spend more than 50 euros, yeah, just to take care of this baby on a daily. And then you realize if you calculate this, if you calculate that price like on a daily for a week and then a month, that is a lot of expenses. So actually a mother can use this not only in the hospital, but she can even be able to take this baby home, and as long as they are stable, instead of staying in the hospital, she can manage the baby from home with our products. So it helps them to save on their expenses and also make their lives better. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just such a brilliant concept, and the fact that you're using local materials is good in a number of ways, but the fact that it keeps the cost of the product down is crucial, I'm sure. So you've come this far, Comfort, with the product and with your team, and what is next now that you've won the Global Innovation Challenge category, and there is going to be some grant funding coming your way. Where do you take KangaCare from here? What is next in your journey and the team's journey?
Before we joined the Social Shifters, we had actually won a mini grant from an innovation hub in Uganda. It's called Comtech Uganda, in partnership with Mbara University where I was studying. So they have been helping us to prototype the Pro KangaCare kit that has the vital sensors. So we're in the process of making it better, improving it. So that is what the Comtech grant has helped us do. But with the social shifters grant, now we want to move forward from prototyping and building a minimum viable product. Now we want to go into doing the feasibility and acceptability test, because it is vital for us to do all this before we can eventually launch it into the market. So that is what we are going to do next. Do our feasibility and acceptability test, do our clinical trials, and then also get approval from Uganda National Bureau of Standards to be able to launch our product into the market. Because if we do not have the approval, we shall not have our product being used by mothers out there. So that's what we're going to be doing.
That's awesome. So yeah, I'd imagine to get a medical product into market, there's a lot of testing and accreditation maybe that you need before a product can be sold on the market. So what does that process look like? Is there a lot of let's call it red tape? Are there a lot of accreditations to achieve before you'll have that product in market? When do you think you might be able to start actually having the product used?
So from our plans, we had actually intended for the product to be out by next year, but there has been some delay. We just started the prototyping journey early this year in March, so probably that has also delayed us a bit. And then from the prototyping phase and building the minimum viable phase, we're going into the feasibility and acceptability phase. And then we also have to get approval from the Research Ethics Committee, not only from the university, Mbarara University, but also the one for Uganda, the whole Uganda. And then after that, clinical trials. So probably in the next, if I'm being realistic, the Pro Kanga-Care kit may come out in 2025. We are hopeful. We just want it to come out as soon as possible, so that we can help as many people as possible.
Yeah, look, and I think this is another point that's important for people who are perhaps at an earlier stage to you to understand that well, in certain industries, but really in social entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship broadly, it can be a process. Often is a process that takes time and takes iteration and experimentation. And look, one of the things we try to get from these podcast conversations are some of the realities of doing work like this. And so I guess I'll ask you, what are the major challenges you've faced so far on your journey, and how have you overcome those challenges?
So one of the major challenges that we actually faced, not only me but as a whole team, initially all of us were students, so it really became hard to balance between class and then also trying to work on this project. So like it was a challenge for all of us because I remember one of our teaching events that was happening in the capital. I had a paper that was like the following day. So I had to travel to Kampala to go and present my concept. And then that very night I had to travel back to my university without reading. So it was really a challenging thing to balance both, but we somehow, somewhere managed to do that. And how we did that was we divided roles among each team member. You know what you're doing and you know the extent to which you can go. So dividing roles helped us so much in managing the whole project as a team. And that is how we were able to solve that problem. And then the other issue came about raising of funds, because when we initially started, it was just a simple idea. Many people didn't actually believe in us, because I remember we applied for over 5 funding opportunities, and every time we would get denied, like rejected, and then we'd go back to the drawing board and we're like, what went wrong? Where did we go wrong? And then I remember the first funding that we got, we were the ones who raised money among ourselves to try and prototype, like to build a prototype that we wanted. So we had to solicit money among ourselves to build something. And then after building that was when actually people started believing that this idea could come to life. So it helped to push us as a team from just an idea to getting our first funding. And our first funding came from Total Energies, because when, at least by the time we were able to present the whole idea to them, we had what to show them. They were like, yes, this team, even though it's still a small team, they have something. So that's one thing that really helps the team. If you have something to show them, it actually normally speaks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Comfort, in those few points that you've made, you've actually touched on some of the most common and important challenges that we at Social Shifters hear from entrepreneurs and projects like yours all over the world. Failure, or let's call it failure, is part of the journey. So there are points where you are told no, or you don't win funding, and you have to overcome small or large kind of points of failure along the journey, and work through that. And then this idea of balancing your own individual priorities, your personal priorities, in your case, study, and this product or business concept, and trying to juggle two very important things that you're passionate about, and finding the time and the energy, and often funding and money to make something happen. And you touched on team, and how you delegated across the team, and we try and communicate in Social Shifters that community is really important, and team is very, very important to moving concepts forward. How important have your team, or the project team, been throughout the journey in moving things forward and keeping things moving?
I would thank you. I would actually say currently my team is the best asset that I have at hand, because without your team you cannot bring out a great idea. And then the team is multidisciplinary. We are made of doctors, biomedical engineers, accountants, and then also someone who knows how to sew things, a tailor. So literally each one of them plays a role in bringing this to life. And if it wasn't because of them, we wouldn't be where we are. So each person knows what work they do and where they come in to play a role. So that has actually enabled us to move forward, yeah, as a team. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Yeah, it's great, and it's really good, I think, for people to hear that, who are at an earlier stage, and are thinking about moving on a concept, or tackling an issue that's important to them, that really the team, the people you have around you are so important. So we're coming towards the end of our conversation, Comfort, and that kind of leads into what I'd like to ask you, or what I like to ask people who've come through the Social Shifters Global Innovation Challenge and become a finalist, or in your case, become a winner. What advice, if you could give one piece of advice to someone at an earlier stage than you, someone who's thinking about taking those first few steps, what advice would you give to them?
I would actually tell them to never give up on their dreams. If they are building a project, or they have a concept where they really want to help in their communities, they should not sit back even after failure. They should actually push forward to make sure that their voices are heard. Because if you sit back and just watch, you will not bring the change that you want in your community. But when you act on it, even after multiple failures, you will actually keep on learning after every failure. There's something that you always learn. That is one thing I had to learn myself. So never give up on your dreams. If you want to change the world, it starts with you.
So yeah, look, we're going to wrap things up there. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for entering the competition. It, speaking personally, makes me very happy that we are able to support people and projects doing incredible work like you are. And we really look forward to seeing how you progress and where KangaCare goes from here. So I just want to say well done again, and thank you for doing what you do. And look, if anyone listening wants to hear or find out more about KangaCare, where should they go? Is there a website or a social media account?
So we have a website currently that's running. I think it's kangapreecare.com. So that's currently the website that we have. And then we also have social media. You can find us on Twitter as Kanga-Care. And then also you can find us currently on Instagram, also on LinkedIn as Kanga-Care.
Brilliant. We will put those links somewhere in the bio for people.
And then if you want to personally reach out to me, you can also just find me as Ayikoru Comfort on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome. Comfort, thank you for joining us, and really best of luck with KangaCare.
Thank you so much for hosting me today. I appreciate it.
If you want to learn more about social shifters and how we can help you to impact the social or environmental issues that matter to you most, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find us on Instagram and Spotify.